So it's on Martin Luther King Day, and maybe today, for those media members that haven't started suddenly hating Martin Luther King, perhaps we can have a conversation with you about what was Martin Luther King really talking about, and how does this relate to today? Because his message, I think, is more relatable today. Anybody who is thinking, I've got to pick up arms because it's so crazy out there, look at Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King knew he was going to die, and I think he knew he was going to die the day he went to the sheriff's office and he said, hey, I want a handgun. I need a gun to protect myself. And they said, well, you know, Mr. King, I think the best thing you could do to protect yourself is to let us handle your security. I mean, there's no reason you need a handgun. Well, people are shooting through my front window at night. Well, I think we can handle all that. For your own safety, sir, I don't think we can issue you a gun permit. Martin Luther King wanted a gun permit, couldn't get one because the government didn't agree with him. Martin Luther King challenged us over and over again. America, live up to your promise. Read your Constitution. Read the Declaration of Independence. Where in it does it say you can treat someone differently? Now, the left is, the left says that they get this, but I think the left has only gotten this for power. I mean, I will tell you that I don't have anything to back this up, but one of these days I will actually spend the time to research the Civil Rights Act with Johnson. How do you get a guy who is an absolute racist, who stands against the Civil Rights Act, to 5 years later become its champion? I believe he saw the power and the destruction of the African-American family in that legislation. But the civil rights, the ideas of civil rights have been around for a very long time. In fact, it's one of the things that all of the states worried about with our federal government. That's why in 1789, we had the Constitution. But in 1791, we got the Bill of Rights, because it didn't take them very long to go, you know, this government's going to get out of control. And there's some things we have to make sure that they know. They belong to the states and they belong to the individuals. And there's nothing anybody in that swamp called Washington is ever going to be able to do about these things. And so we need that extra protection. We just want to remind Congress and the president that you can never, ever, ever do these things. And that's how we got the Bill of Rights. But right now, you have people pretending that they want peace, pretending that there are enemies of the Constitution and our way of life that are not only outside of our own borders, but there are also those who strangely believe in the Constitution. They're the ones to watch. They're the real radicals. Let me start with Virginia, what's happening in Virginia. They have a big rally today in Virginia, and it's a day where you can go and talk to your representative in the State House. This is a tradition in Virginia. And so it's Martin Luther King Day, so you have the day off, so you can go ahead and petition the government for things. Well, there are tens of thousands of people that are going all over for Virginia because they believe their government is out of control. Now, the GOP screwed everything up, and then the Republicans stayed at home and didn't vote. And so what happened? They have Democrats controlling the House and the Senate and the governor's house. So you've got a people who are in a pact to steamroll the rest of the state. If you look at the map of Virginia on how many counties and how many areas have decided to pass pro-Second Amendment rules and claim that they are people that they're safe counties. If you look at this map, it's almost all entirely green of where these laws have been passed. And then there's a couple of yellows, which means it's it's ready to be heard in those city council or those county council meetings. There's a couple of those. There's a couple of orange ones that say they're starting to move and make progress. There's only 2 little teeny spots that have stopped this legislation and said we're not going to be a sanctuary city. It's really, truly, remarkably overwhelming. But it doesn't have to just do with the guns. But let me talk about the guns for a second. The first thing that this Democratic governor and House and Senate did in Virginia was to protect the governor from impeachment. Now, this is really interesting as the Democrats talk about how we've got to be able to impeach on the lowest of bars. They're protecting their own governor from impeachment. And remember, this is Governor Blackface. This is Governor, we'll decide after the baby is born whether they should live or die. This guy's a radical as he is. But he got all kinds of protection. He didn't have to go away. Any Republican that did anything like that would have been gone before he even finished the sentence. But they protected him. And now, as soon as everybody was reelected, they protected him even more. And they said, it used to take 10% to be able to have a petition to impeach the governor, but we think it should be 25%. And so they passed that and got that through. So they're making it harder for the people to impeach. Now, why would you do that? Well, you would do that if the governor said, I'll sign whatever you send, but you better protect my butt. And so what did they decide to do? In Virginia, new gun laws, age requirements, ban on assault weapons, ban on magazines, limiting outdoor ranges. This is an amazing thing. Why would you be limiting outdoor ranges? People don't like to shoot indoors, generally speaking. You like to go outdoors. It's loud. It's obnoxious. It smells. You like to go sit outdoors if you can. Why would you be limiting outdoor ranges? Just to make it more of a hassle, make it something that you don't enjoy. They are talking about passing the red flag confiscation laws. Now, this one I love. In Virginia, you only have to have a 51% certainty that that person is trouble. Only 51%. I'm going to come back to this. I want you to remember that. Their red flag laws allow the police to come into your house and take your weapons if they're 51% sure that you're a trouble, that you're going to cause some sort of harm to someone in your house. Maybe someone in your house is going to cause harm to somebody else. You lose your weapons. They have a cap on handgun purchases. You can only buy one per month. Well, you only have 2 hands. And then they're also changing the Electoral College. And this just all in the last couple of months. Congratulations, Virginia. Now, let me flip this around, because guns are a constitutionally protected right. I know that's up for debate now, but it's actually not. I know everybody thinks it's up for debate, but it's not. Since 1791, guns have been constitutionally protected. It is your right to be able to defend yourself. Well, you're just not going to let anybody have guns. You're going to let children have guns? Yeah. Do you know up until, I think, 1969, a kid could go in and buy a gun and some bullets, and it was no big deal? Why? Society was different. There's a problem with our society. Have you seen that London, in England, they're now coming up with new knives without a pointy end. They're round. Why? Because there's so many knife crimes. Why are there knife crimes? Because we banned all the guns, because there were so many gun crimes. So now we have to ban knives. We can ban hands eventually, ban rocks eventually. It's a societal problem. It's not a gun problem or a knife problem. It's a human problem. You're denying something. But it's a fundamental right. Now, let me ask you, if I flip this around and all of a sudden Republicans took control of your state, and the Republicans said, you know what, anybody who is going to speak out against the government or anything that we do, If we're 51% certain you as a teacher or a professor are going to teach things that the state doesn't like, 51%, we're going to ban you. I mean, you can go to court and you can fight it, but you have to prove your innocence. And you may not even get it back, even if you're innocent. Do you think people would be sitting around on their thumbs?